Hi guys, yes, still here with the wonderful Adam Fleming. Over to Adam now. He's going to read out a few bits and pieces for us. Go for it, mate.
I'm going to read a little bit from Satchel Pong and the Great Migration. This is a little bit in from the beginning. Pong sat in his corner office at the top of the fourth floor of the Tehran Municipal Complex, the highest vantage point in Tehran City. He admired the view to the east. Towards the bay, at the wharfs, and in the commercial center, the activities of prosperous enterprises were in motion. Blue-collar men were hauling barrels, and in the park along the waterfront, businessmen, entrepreneurs, and foreign ship captains could be seen strolling along or betting and cheating each other at a lawn ball game called pétanque and drinking their tea. Satchel Pong loved to watch as they cut deals on real estate or iron ore, berated their assistants, or winked at the serving ladies who brought tea to the outdoor cafes. Pong's life was so full of paperwork, he could hardly imagine spending the day playing with silly balls and drinking together and going home to a wife saying, we made lots of money today, dear. But then Pong was a bachelor and he had no imagination for how the wife might respond to that either. When he looked south across the great town of some 50,000 inhabitants, which he knew by the standards of foreigners in faraway lands to be no more than a village, he saw Verlamsey trees, giving shade to neat rows of houses, backyard truck gardens, and shops. Beyond them, he surveyed the mighty thatch of brewbotch trees ringing the town. Grateful will watch we for the brewbotch tree, he muttered, and made the sign of the brewbotch tree on his forehead with his thumb. Beyond the brewbotches, the ground blistered and boiled like the skin of some diseased sea monster. Fires broke out daily, burning the island itself, running themselves up against the iron-black, steel-tough hides of the brewbotch hedge, which created a wonderful barrier to protect Tehran City and any other town or rural compound anywhere in the 9 islands. The Verlamsey trees planted inside the city were symbiotic with the brewbotch. Their shallow network of roots stole water from the much deeper roots of the brewbotch, which made the brewbotch work harder, thereby becoming the tough, fireproof plant that it was. And with that parasitically derived water flowing through them, the Verlamsey root system cooled the ground inside any compound like cold water pipes laid in flooring. They could be tapped for fresh water as well, for drinking, bathing, and irrigating other crops. It was true, the fires beyond the hedge were hotter these days. I'm going to stop there on that one.
Yeah, good time finish there, definitely that one, Adam, because I think it's, people are wondering, that's a really good time to tease it out, definitely for people there. So tremendous, mate. Okay, you're going to do a bit more, something a bit different than extras, aren't you, to conclude with? How
about a poem?
Oh, yes, please, do a poem.
Yeah, I would love to read one of the flash fiction pieces, but it's a little bit, they're a little bit long. No, let's read this one because it's a little macabre. It's called Rob the Wooden Frog. It's got a bit of a Pinocchio feel to it. Rob was a wooden frog from a tourist market with a long peg in his mouth, which he could pull out and rub across his spine so that his hollow mahogany mouth would croak. A little boy owned him and played with him now and then. Hump, 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 he said. One day he fell out of his little boy's pocket and onto the footpath by the river. Soon a female frog hopped up to him and said howdy and asked would he like to have a drink and maybe some flies on Friday night. She said her name was Sandy. Rob wanted to be a real frog. A tear ran down his cheek, in his mind. It could not run down his actual cheek because, as we have noted, he was made of wood. But alas, how he would like to hop about with this female, hollering hump, hump together and perhaps doing other things. She began dragging him toward the water. It was a good thing, Rob thought, that wood could float or he'd be sinking. Instead, he bobbed down the river, his would-be girlfriend swimming along behind. Rob saw a waterfall ahead. Oh no, he thought. If we go over the waterfall, we'd be dashed on the rock against the rocks. He called to Sandy sort of telepathically, look out! But she could not hear him because he was not a real frog and he needed the little boy to stroke the stick across his back to make him say hump. But Sandy was alert. She was a real frog with strong swimming abilities, as you may have guessed, so she had no trouble staying away from the waterfall. She saw Rob drifting and cried out, watch it, baby, you're too close. As he tumbled through the sky, Rob looked up and saw a wishing star. Gee, Mr. Wishing Star, he wished, I wish I was a real frog. Then I wouldn't splinter on the rocks below. To his astonishment, the star replied, "Silly frog, only little children wish upon stars." "Well, I did it anyway," Rob said. "Then you must be a little child," said the star. With that, Rob turned into a real little boy. "But I just wanted to be a real frog and mate with that hot babe Sandy," he thought. And then Rob, the real little boy, landed on the rocks at the bottom of the waterfall, broke his neck, and died. Later that weekend, Sandy mated with a different bullfrog whose name was Carrie Kingfisher. He was quite the specimen, as you might say, especially if you were dissecting him. But that was not his fate. Together, Sandy and Carrie improved the gene pool. The frog people once again became a tiny bit stronger. One day soon, Carrie Kingfisher knew they would rule the world.
Tremendous, absolutely tremendous. Look, great piece of different direction. The other piece, that brilliant. Are you going to wrap things up with? We've got a bit of time spare here for a bit of your cowboy piece as well, have you?
Shall I read some Stetson Jeff?
Yes, please. Conclude. We have talked about it, so it does make sense. It gives a bit of a conclusion with that, definitely.
I'm going to jump right in on chapter 1, and this is the paperback, Stetson Jeff Adventures, volume 1. So this one has all 3 of the first 3 books in it. Now I gotta take a second to get my Texas accent on. I woke up and looked in the mirror. Lines on my face from a new corduroy Arkansas Razorbacks pillow. Spiked the hair on the top of my head with gel and let it dry while I combed out the tangles hanging to my shoulders with my brand new Arkansas Razorbacks comb. Barbed wire in front, horse's ass in the back, my daddy calls it. He tried to make me cut it once, but I reminded him that great grandpappy had long hair and he rode with Wyatt Earp. Then I grabbed my Stetson, a regular Stetson. Oh, I got a few that are bright red with a big Razorbacks logo in the center, but I'd rather shake hands with a rattlesnake than wear one of those in public. Look, can I just say right up front that I hate the Arkansas Razorbacks? I did not choose to be born in Texarkana. I would throw out all the Arkansas Razorback stuff cluttering up my trailer if it wasn't all given to me on my birthday and holidays by members of the family. But it was, so I have to keep it. I tell my family members, F the Razorbacks, and they all laugh and say, spoken like a true Arkansian, or is it Arkansite? Arkanser? Then they all fall to arguing about what they should call me. Oh, it's a big joke here that I was born in Arkansas. It's become a family tradition every Christmas to see who can give me the weirdest Razorbacks memorabilia. And yesterday was no different. Everyone else got something they wanted. I got 10 Razorbacks placemats to go with my Razorbacks card table and a shiny new Razorbacks razor, which Daddy was especially proud of finding. And remember, this was 1988. Long before there was eBay or Amazon, but still they managed to find stuff like a metal sign that says reserved parking, Razorback fans only, or a desk statue of a pig made from rosin that's supposed to look like bronze. I don't even have a desk, and I don't need a parking spot. I swear they spent all summer looking at yard sales and auctions for stuff to get me, and then they laughed when I told them I don't need more Razorback stuff, and then they just kept on debating what you call someone from Arkansas. Arkansonian? No, that's not what you call me. My name is Stetson Jeff Stetson. You know, just like Bond James Bond, 007, except with a bigger hat and a bigger, you know, everything's bigger in Texas. Heck, even in Arkansas, things are bigger than little old Great Britain. But let's not go there. Shall I keep going? Or did I just insult your whole audience?
That's perfect today, that, mate. Been a real pleasure today, that one. It definitely has that, Adam. I respect you for that straight away. If you're doing a Texas accent like that, you did as far as I can see, and I'm a Brit. It was a good effort, that one, straight away. So
well, my grandparents lived in Texas when I was little, and so even though I'm a Midwestern boy with a totally different accent, we traveled down there often enough that I was able to kind of get a pretty good feel for what my Texas accent is. So,
no, tremendous. Now, I want to thank you today, Adam, because we're going to have a chat off mic now. We're going to sort a few more bits and pieces out. But I've really enjoyed this today. I've got to be honest with you, it's always great when you get a chance to chat to people like yourself, when you're researching them. And there's people to bear in mind for podcasting this. when you find out, when you research how much creative stuff they've got involved. Like, obviously, I knew you had your fingers in the Hugh Pies when we agreed this a bit about the session, but it's been a pleasure today just seeing how varied your work is, and all the best for the future with it, mate. It's been a pleasure today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Andy. Appreciate it.
Anyway, guys and girls, that's it for today anyway for Spoken Label. So as Don Callis at Impact Wrestling says, stay safe and stay over, and we will see you all next